welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. I've just returned from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium where, of course, Spurs have just beaten West Ham United 3-1. A Heung-Min Son double, a Harry Kane double. Tottenham Hotspur are now fifth in the Premier League, and we are only 3 points away from the top four. And I have three very, very special guests to talk about today's game. Let's introduce them first of all. We've got actor Andy Linden. Andy, how are you? Of course, you've been in the likes of Harry Potter and Count Arthur Strong and many, many other shows. How are you?
I am great, as I said earlier on. Now we got a great result today, guys. A very good Cheltenham. Good sport, horse racing, especially when you win. It's never gambling when you're winning. It's called winning. And yeah, I'm very peachy at the minute. A very, very, very happy bunny.
Well, it's always nice to have new guests on when we win, when we're all smiling. It really is. These few weeks of winning, losing. I really hope that we would get the 3 points today. We've also got Mike Apps with us. We've got, Mike, you're new to the show as well. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Chris. Very well indeed. I've been really looking forward to coming on and making my debut tonight, but obviously it added an extra kind of element to watching the game today that I was thinking, when Spurs lose normally, I just sort of go into hiding for a few days and unless I have to go into the office, in which case, as everyone knows, you're kind of the centre of attention for everyone else. But no, really enjoyable watching that match, that performance today, and great to be here talking about 3 points, which I think really sets us up nicely for the closing couple of months of the season now.
I should have said, actually, Mike, you're BBC broadcast journalist and presenter for BBC South News. So welcome to the channel and so glad to have you on. So thanks for your time. We've also got Ricky Champagne Norwood with us, actor, of course, former EastEnders actor. Ricky, how are you?
I am buzzing, my friend. I am buzzing. I haven't stopped smiling since that final whistle blew. I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to get into it tonight. Beautiful 3 points. 3 points that we needed today. We needed to show not just us fans, the club, and everybody else watching, but like the entire league, what we're about.
Antonio Conte has just said, I enjoyed watching my team play this type of football, as I'm sure you did today. Your thoughts on today's match?
Yeah, we did. I thought we moved the ball intelligently today. We moved it quick up. Look, I've got to declare it. The first sort of 7 or 8 minutes, we were a little bit sloppy with our passing. And I thought, oh no, here we go again. Oh no, we're going to, because I'm one of these Tottenham fans who, I'm not exactly a glass half empty. I'm not exactly a glass half full. I'm one of these Tottenham fans who hasn't got a glass. But once we got the goal, I thought we settled, but that settled us down. And we did play some good, inventive football. Players were making intelligent runs. And I was thinking, is this Tottenham? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm in the stadium. We played, and it was. Let's have it right here. When we played at Welkers, sorry, West Ham. It is their cup final. Believe me, we've all been to Upton Park and the new London, whatever. I can't remember what it's called now. I don't care. It's a tough game, and they are an improved side, in my opinion. Look, 2 seasons ago, they were flirting with relegation, and due to Moyes, credit where it's due, they are an improved side who got shape. But yes, we played really well today. I thought the second half, I don't know about you guys, at 2-1, I was thinking, it's getting a bit nervy here. It's getting a little bit nervy.
Yeah.
But Route 1, Route 1, I thought, and Harry out jumping the centre up. That's how it looked to me. Sean getting on in joyous for me, but deep relief, sirs. Deep relief. But we did play well today. I think the two new lads are settling in very well. I was slightly dubious. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I when we got them, but it is coming together. Great result today against a tricky team. It's one of them games that we would have lost in the past, but no, well done, Tottenham. That's really cranked my engine up. Pardon me while I drink more wine. And slowly but delightfully become inebriated, and perhaps later on embarrass myself on YouTube.
Andy, I've got to ask you actually, because I know you've just come in as well from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The crowd today, Antonio Conte wanted the crowd to get behind the team. They've certainly done that today, didn't they?
Oh, didn't they just? Yeah. I mean, there were one or two that ran onto the pitch. One of them wasn't me, I can assure you. But yes, we did get behind it, and he's right. And look, like every other Tottenham fan, we need him at Tottenham next season. As I say, I'm the ultimate pessimist when it comes to Spurs, but we need him at Spurs now. And I think the board now have got to back him. I mean, we've got a good squad, but let's be brutally honest. Well, certainly in my opinion, we need wing backs. If we're going to play this system, we need wing backs. I also think we need another centre half, possibly a left-sided centre half, and a backup forward wouldn't go amiss, guys. Apparently, we haven't bought a forward in 6 transfer windows, which is jaw-dropping. But he needs to be back. Antonio needs to stay, and we've got to give him a chance to develop this team. And
you've nearly covered every single subject of this show, so we've nearly done it in 7 minutes.
I didn't mean to ramble on. I'm new to
That's all right. We'll certainly cover all of those subjects later on in the show. Mike, let's come to you. Thoughts on today's game, because it is exactly what we wanted. We are now only 3 points away from the top 4. It's been the perfect week. A win at Brighton on Wednesday and then a win today.
Well, I've had a strange week, because I think, like I'm sure everyone, I was so kind of shell-shocked and disappointed after the Man United game last Saturday night. And it's so easy to kind of, after a result like that and the way it went for us, just think, that's it. I mean, how many times this season have we all probably at some point said, that's the top 4 done, that's us out of it now, let's just concentrate on, top half finish, top 6, whatever. But kind of what you then do, or at least what I do, is I find it can be my absolute downfall, but give it a couple of days and I start to think, well, hold on. We've got Brighton on Wednesday and Arsenal have got Liverpool. They're going to lose to Liverpool. We can beat Brighton. And then Aston Villa's a tough game for Arsenal on Saturday lunchtime. Then we've got West Ham. And to be honest, I got to a point towards the end of the week where I was telling people we're going to be above Arsenal on goal difference come Sunday night. That's how confident I felt sort of going into it. Sadly, didn't quite work out, as we know. But no, I think really, to me, this week sums up the rest of our season now, that it is all about what Tottenham do in our fixtures. You look at the games that Spurs got left, you look at the games that Arsenal and Man United have got left, and on paper, I truly believe that the points are there to be won, that Tottenham can do this, but it's just about that consistency. And that's why I took such satisfaction from that win today, because it's just proving to everyone, but most importantly, proving to the players themselves that they are capable of stringing a couple of results together for the first time this year, let's not forget. So that's really encouraging. I think there was times in that first half where I thought this is just going to be an absolute pleasure, like it was watching the Everton game or the Leeds game. But you knew, London derby such as it was never going to be that way. And I have to say, that corner, what was it, on sort of midway through the second half, where they got that unlikely corner off Son. I've never watched a corner with the same tension that I do from sort of a penalty kick, because it just felt like we've been doing everything to avoid West Ham getting another corner. Here it comes. This is just certainly going to be a goal. So when that passed, I think we all breathed a sigh of relief. The second Son goal went in, and it was just, relax now. Let's enjoy our Sunday night. And I feel so positive about it. And the quotes coming from Conte after the game, he feels really positive about it as well, which is something that in recent weeks you can't take for granted, really. So it's sad to say in some respects, but that's one of the great wins today, that it seems we've got a motivated team, a motivated fan base, and a motivated manager, which is all important.
Well, Conte has just said it's a pity to have this international break at this moment. We're in good form. Ricky, let's come to you. Your thoughts on today's game?
Bro, oh my gosh. I mean, you know, before the game, I was bang up for it. And what I wanted, and I know what Conte wanted, was to see that desire, that will, that determination, you know, to go beyond effort, to go beyond commitment, to reach the next levels. And today we saw that. You know, we always know that it's West Ham's cup final, but today we had to turn up as if it was one of our finals today. And, you know, we saw that throughout the side. It was disappointing when they scored, because I felt that we was in such control of the game that to give them any encouragement, I was just like, oh, come on now. And for the 10 minutes in the second half, you know, 45 to 60 minutes, 10, 15 minutes in the second half, West Ham were about it, and they were putting us under a little bit of pressure. But if we look at it really and truly, how many saves did Hugo have to pull out of the bag today? How many shots on target were there from West Ham, really?
One.
Well, there you go, right? So we controlled the game. We put on the counter-attack when it was time to put it on. We calmed it down when it was time to calm it down. We controlled the game. It was fantastic to see. And I saw Conte say after the game that he said after like 5 months of working with the boys, that he wanted to enjoy watching the boys today. And you saw it today. So that means he's trusting the boys with not only the tactics, but with the will to win, with the intelligence, with the knowledge to go out there and secure the 3 points. You know, and we've done that. Outstanding performances from Bentancur. Kulusevski, week in, week out, he just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. There was a flick on 39 minutes from Kulusevski, and I was just like, what is going on here? You know, so it's just so nice to see that these building blocks that we've been putting in week after week, performance after performance, whether that be a win or a loss, you know, we're starting to see what type of side this Conte Tottenham is right now. And it just puts us in a fantastic position to go full steam ahead on this crazy train, as Lee McQueen likes to call it, this crazy train that we're always on as a Tottenham fan. It's great to put all the coal in, all the fuel into the fire, and let's go at it for the last couple of games of this season. Let's go at it. Come on.
So Ricky, are you with Mike? Are you believing again?
I'm believing again. You heard me after Man United. I'm the same, a bit like Mike there. Like after Man United, I was kind of like, all right, well, that's it. It's gone now. Do you know what I mean? And then we turn up against Brighton, and I was like, all right, really good performance, clean sheet. They whipped in cross after cross after cross. Do you know what I mean? And I was on Last Word on Spurs after the Brighton game, and I did. They asked me, what was your predicted scoreline? And I said 3-1 Tottenham. So, like, to get that today, you know, but you just don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up. So to get that today, just certifies all the belief, all the want, you know, and it is showing. It's showing not only the fans in the club, but it's showing those players that if they work hard and all the struggles and all the sacrifices that they're doing in training, that the results can come after it. So it's just a beautiful, positive place to be in going into this international break right now.
It really is. Andy, let's come to you. Let's talk about the Tottenham Hotspur starting 11 today. Hugo Lloris in goal, the back three of Romero, Dier and Davis, Matt Doherty and Reguilon as wing-backs. In midfield, Bentancur and Højbjerg, and the forward three of Kulusevski, Heung-Min Son and Harry Kane. Fully expected lineup, really, wasn't it?
Yes, it's a lineup I think he's used for the last 3 or 4 games. As I said, I like the new two boys. They've settled in surprisingly quickly. Kulusevski works bloody hard. He is skillful. You do think, my God, if this kid had pace, he could be potentially unplayable at times if he had pace. But you can't have everything. I wish I had hair, but there you go. You know, that way I could say to you, where are you going? I'm off to the barbers. But anyway, that's another problem. But it seems a settled side. I don't mean to dig any players out. Oh, yes, you do. No, I don't. I do think, in my opinion, that we are, if we're going to play with wing backs, we're going to need, in my opinion, more than Doherty, more than Reggie, in my opinion. You know, if we're going to play, we're going to need wing backs who can occupy defence. But at the moment, things are very peachy. We're going very well. I know Conte's very sort of frustrated about it's an international break, but guys, at least we won, and we can all jolly well watch match of the day time and time again tonight. Yeah, he wants a settled side, so I think the likes of Mora and one or two others are going to have to sit it out. Yeah, it's a settled side, isn't it, at the moment? And like you guys, I too was upset about the United game. I thought overall we played well. Again, it was a set piece that did us. I felt like I thought I was going to go and live in a Scottish glen for a week. But I don't know. I'll suffer it at home. But yeah, a settled side. I am now rambling on, really. I'll probably end up in some verbal cul-de-sac, really. It's a settled side, and let's keep going. Let's just keep going. And I'm very impressed with the two Juve boys. They've settled in very quickly.
We'll come on to talk about them in detail shortly, Andy. Mike, let's come to you. Now, we've got 9 games left in the Premier League. Would you expect Antonio Conte to keep using this same 11? Because as Andy said, he's used this same 11 in the last few games. When Oliver Skipp comes back, do you think that he will fit in? Do you think Højbjerg will possibly make way for him?
I think, absolutely. I think, there's no doubt the way Conte talks about Skipp, he rates him so highly and he's so disappointed to not have him. So I think that's one that you could absolutely see him being brought in to play alongside Bentancur. I think the one for me is Sessegnon, because I just feel today, whilst you can't fault the commitment of Reguilon and the engine that he's got, it's fantastic. It just showed again today these positions he gets himself into, and it's the combination of it's either where he's played through on goal. And sadly, he just doesn't have the composure or the confidence to do anything with it. But then equally frustrating is just where he gets the ball and he doesn't take his man on. And I think with Sessegnon, we all know he's far from the finished article, but he has got that history behind him of the games he played at Fulham on loan in Germany last year, where I think it's really telling that, he got his chance because Reguilon had COVID a month ago at Man City. And when Reguilon was back fit, we all sort of wondered how quickly he's going to come back in. But it was just so telling that Conte stuck with him. So I think he would absolutely be playing if he was fit. And I think he's going to be a big plus when he comes back in. But yeah, I think Skipp and Sessegnon, I have to say, in terms of the other options, I mean, I feel a little bit for Bergwijn because I feel the move was on the table for him, I think, in January. And I think if we got Luis Diaz, I think he'd be an Ajax player now. And I think it's possibly going to be one of those where he ends up as a backup for the rest of this season and goes in the summer and maybe feels a bit frustrated with how the last few weeks goes. But then, of course, as we saw against Leicester, he can produce these moments. So perhaps he's got something to give us still. But yeah, I think basically with 1 or 2 changes, that's going to be the starting 11. And with, apart from fitting in this Arsenal game somewhere, 1 game a week, we're now at last in that territory of what Conte does best, training the players through the week, coaching them to within an inch of their lives so they know exactly what they've got to do on the pitch. And the signs are that it's really starting to sink in now, which is great.
Mike, it's fair to say since Antonio Conte has come in, he's improved a number of these Spurs players. Do you think he can improve them any further than what he's done so far?
I think so, but I think it's just really interesting. I mean, I think what I find interesting is, I mean, Dier's 28 now, something like that. I mean, he's been playing us for so long, but he's still, isn't it that phrase that Conte uses for everybody? I think maybe the one player he hasn't said this about is Lloris, but everyone else he says there's big space for improvement. And, you know, you see that written down and it sounds like it could be a criticism, but I think when it comes from Conte, it sounds actually encouraging. I think it's when he says you've got no chance of improving, you've got to worry in a Conte squad. So I think there's more to come from a lot of them. And I think, you know, that's why I think that goal today, that would be the frustration for him, that it wasn't a clean sheet. And that, you know, we've got this concern over corners and crosses into the box and set pieces. We really don't want to give them away. So that's possibly where we can improve upon. But, you know, in fairness, it's a case of Conte being savvy enough to look at it as Mourinho did and say, in that link up between Son and Kane, I've got something which is, you know, the best in the league. So why wouldn't I look to just give them every opportunity to thrive? And with Kulusevski added to that, it's looking like a really good extension of that partnership now.
Ricky, let's get your thoughts on the starting 11 again, because of course after today's game, Tottenham Hotspur have tweeted where fans can vote for their man of the match: Romero, Heung-Min Son, Harry Kane, and Bentancur. Now, when you look through the spine of the team now, you know, Hugo Lloris, Christian Romero, Heung-Min Son, Harry Kane up front, Bentancur in midfield. It seems a really good spine of the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's growing week in, week out. It's growing week in, week out. I think what is really encouraging right now is that if we look at seasons gone by, especially last season, you know, we didn't have a settled back four. We didn't have a settled midfield. We knew that Harry and Sonny would play, and probably Lucas, but, you know, the rest of the side was undecided. And that showed in results as well. That showed in performances. You know, there were too many games last season where there were players that dropped off and left it to somebody else. It wasn't their responsibility. But having a settled back five, having a settled midfield where they're starting to trust each other, they're starting to learn each other's games, they're starting to fight and work for each other. It's beautiful to see. We haven't seen it in a long time. And having these one game weeks now, basically, even though we've had a couple of midweeks, but, you know, having these one games a week right now, they have got an opportunity to build on this week in, week out. They've got an opportunity to increase those performances. If we look at Reguilon and Doherty right now, so look, Conte's a magician right now. I never thought that we'd see the performances out of Davies that we've seen, out of Dier that we've seen. You know, even Doherty was out the door for me a long time ago. But for him to come back in and to have encouraging performances, he's had a couple of dips, but have encouraging performances. You know, today he wrestled the ball off of one of the West Ham players that set up the first goal. You know, but at the same time, he lost it. Yeah. In the case where we conceded that goal against West Ham. So we can see he's still got a bit of roughness in him, but we can see that if Conte can improve a player like Doherty, who was all the way out the door for every single fan, then there are miles to go with the rest of this squad. On Reguilon, his work rate up and down. All right, cool. His crosses wasn't as crisp today, and he didn't get on the end of Kane's balls and kind of fire off shots as much as he could have today. But if you look at his work rate, it was on top today. He was up and down that left-hand side like nobody's business. Do you know what I mean? He was there overlapping for the attacks, and he was, you know, all the way running back for those defensive maneuvers that he was pulling out. So there is so much more to come from this team. We have only just begun in this kind of Conte era right now. I know it's been 5 months he's been here, but we're starting to see, and they've said it. I think Hugo said it today on N17 after the game that, you know, they're starting to have muscle memory with the tactics and with the positions on the ball and off the ball. So now we're going to get to see a proper Conte Tottenham. And how beautiful is that going into the last run-in of the Premier League? It sets us up beautifully. It's
exciting though, isn't it? Because, you know, we had 17 shots today, 4 on target, but we are creating, you know, a number of chances. And I think that if our fullbacks could finish, if Reguilon could finish, you know, Antonio Conte works on that part of his game, he could score a lot of goals during a season. Andy, let's come to you. Let's talk about the first goal after 9 minutes. It went down as a Zuma own goal in the end, but great work from Matt Doherty. Harry Kane crossed. It looked like Heung-Min Son got on the end of it, but it came off Zuma, as I said, 1-0 Spurs. What have you made of, we'll first talk about Matt Doherty. What have you made of him under Antonio Conte? Because this is certainly a player that Conte has improved.
Absolutely. I think he's improved all of them. As Ricky pointed out, it was actually Doherty's tackle and press that won the ball. Fed to Kane, if my memory served me right, and crossed. And the new forward we got, own goal, he scored about 9, this fella we bought. Own goal. I've never seen him myself, but we all know of him. Scored. Apparently this time round it was a vicious cat kicker. But it was constantly booed. Although I thought they may have cheered him today, being as though he did us a favour. But yes, Doherty has improved, and he's improved. I think most players. Dier as well. Look, I don't know how you guys feel, but Dier's a good, honest player, but over the years, he tends to switch off. He doesn't read the game. He's guilty of ball watching, and I think Conte is trying to squeeze that out of him. And he has improved several players. Look, Davis, as you guys pointed out, yes, I know it's a role that he plays for Wales, but he's even began to move forward. So yes, you know, Antonio, he has improved the squad, and yeah, I feel that. But as he says, look, he's not a magician. Yeah, I honestly believe that most of the players.
He is a magician, Andy. He is,
yeah.
But
he is, isn't he?
Oh, well, he declared that he wasn't, but no, if you say he is fine. I bet he's never rode a broom, but there you go. But
Andy, let me come back to you on the point about Eric Dier, because some Spurs fans this week have been disappointed that he hasn't been included in the England squad. Were you disappointed?
No, good. That means he's not injured. You know, I'm being very selfish. Perhaps he should have been. Look, he has improved. And I think, again, I'm being repetitive, that is down to Conte. But I think he's improved most players. As Mike pointed out, you know, in the squad, we've been through him, Doherty, who, and I really don't mean to be castigating here, but same with Reggie, he works bloody hard, but they need replacing guys. If we want to be in this, and I don't mean to be critical, if we want that lovely, you know, constant European Champions League tours, I think we need upgrades in certain areas. And I believe Conte believes this as well. He has tried to improve them all, and he has. But I think if we're going to go the next step, I think Conte believes this as well. We are going to need backing, and we're going to need another centre-half, wing backs, possibly another midfielder to give us options. Oh, I've said all this before. But yes, to answer your question, yes, he's improved them.
Mike, let's come to you. Let's stay with that first goal, because it was great work from Matt Doherty. Harry Kane then crossed, and then Zuma put it in his own net. For you, Matt Doherty, you know, he's come under a lot of criticism from Tottenham Hotspur fans. It's really nice to see him in this form at the moment. I know exactly what Andy's saying. You know, we've got 9 Premier League games left. Of course, in an ideal world, we would have another couple of wing backs, but we've got to make do, and Antonio Conte has got to get the best out of these group of players to get us, you know, possibly Champions League football at the end of the season. But, you know, for what he's doing right now, have you been impressed with Matt Doherty in these last few months?
I have. I mean, I don't know if the players would see it this way, but I think probably the reality is that for that right back position, for the rest of this season, Emerson and Doherty are basically competing to be probably the backup right back for us for next season, because I can't see both staying. I think, traditionally you might sort of say there'd be an attitude at the club of like, what do we spend? About 23 million on Emerson, so we've got to keep him. We've got to really work at improving him. But I think, then providing Conte stays, I think there's just a general acceptance that he was bought for a different manager. He doesn't really fit into the system. He tries, and he's had some decent games. That game against Brighton in the Cup, he played the best I think he's played in that position for him. But generally speaking, he does feel like a bit of a square peg in a round hole. And I think really you could see whether we'd get enough of our money back on him in the summer to say we'll sell him. You could see him going out on loan somewhere for next season, and then hopefully, we'd get a sort of bespoke right wing back, someone who knows that position, who's going to be a first choice, and then it's for Doherty to sort of share the games with him. But no, I think he's shown a good attitude. I think we're all being surprised by it, even in the January transfer window. At one point, I think we all thought he'd gone to Wolves in a swap deal for Traore. I think we'd all completely given up on him. But no, you have to give him credit for knuckling down. And when he conceded the corner, and of course you knew they were going to score from it, you just sort of thought, is it ever going to really work for him in a Tottenham shirt? So I was pleased that it wasn't a decisive mistake, shall we say. And I hope that he can be just as uplifted by the result as everyone else and take that form into the other side of the international break.
Ricky, let's come to you. In the 24th minute, Heung-Min Son scored to make it 2-0. A great move. Davis to Bentancur to Harry Kane, a superb ball. Heung-Min Son then finished for 2-0. Talk us through that goal.
Oh, bro. I mean, oh my gosh. You know what? It was just like, at the time, you could see it. You could see the pattern, and you just want them to do it, and they done it. Like Bentancur again, this guy is so much class in midfield. Not only does he have great feet and a great touch and great vision, but again, work rate, again, intelligence. His intelligence to know when to push the play and when to calm the play. When he sees Romero rolling up, going forward, or when Davies is going forward, he's the one that drops back with Dier, and it's just like they're starting to trust each other right now. So to see that move play off, we know what Kane and Sonny are about. For them to get another combined goal today, to just push those stats up even more, again, sublime. And what a goal! What a goal from Sonny. They were saying it was a deflection. I didn't really see the deflection, but the bend on the ball, the way he got it, the way he shot it, it was just exquisite, bruv. Exquisite. It was exquisite and thoroughly deserved. And I know a lot of people kind of talk about this, the own goal, the own goal that we signed in January or whatever his name was. But if you look at it, really, it's to do with our attacking play. It's to do with how dangerous we are on the front foot when we are pushing forward. That danger creates confusion in defenders, which then results in an own goal. So again, all right, the stat is for Mr. Own Goal, but really and truly, it goes to the team for pressing them, for pushing them, for confusing those defenders with our offensive play, and with our fantastic players right there. So for Sonny to score that, I mean, the first goal as well should have been Sonny's. All right, Zuma made it an own goal, but should have been Sonny's as well, and. It was just beautiful. Mr. Tottenham turns up again. Sonny's been doubted the last couple of weeks, but you got to remember that Sonny will always turn up for Tottenham. He is a Mr. Tottenham right now. Do you know what I mean? Ever since the summer when he signed that new contract and he didn't know whether Harry was going to be there, he decided to step up to the plate, And yes, he has a couple of dips. Yes, he has a few kind of quieter moments, but the crowd were with him today. They pushed him on. And that's what it was really lovely as well to hear as well from the crowd. Not only were they singing and cheering and hollering when we was winning, when we was in the ascendancy, but every time we had a dip, they picked the boys back up again. There was, they let them know that we was with them. Let them know, let's go again. Let them know that, we got you. We've got your back either which way. So to score that second goal right there, sublime, brother, sublime.
Andy, let's come to you. What have you made of the criticism for Heung-Min Son in these last few weeks?
He's been a great servant with Tottenham and still is. He's 2-footed. He's still got a bit of toe about him. He loves the club. Ricky's right. Look, yes, he has dipped recently. He has. Look, if we're brutally honest, but yeah, we are talking about a fellow who's a great servant to Tottenham. He's got what, over 100 goals, guys? I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'm sure it is, but again, he worked hard today. But I thought they all did, really. But Sonny Pop would always call him, has been a great servant to Tottenham. And we bought him for a steal, 23 mil, was it? Although
Something like that.
Well, that was,
Bargain.
That's the word I was looking for, chaps. Yes, bargain. Yes, as Ricky was saying, look, he has dipped the last few weeks. If we're brutally honest, and I'm not trying to fire into him, but Ricky brought it up, I have to agree as well. But look, he's a great servant for Tottenham. He's got pace, he can drop a shoulder, 2-footed as well, prefers the right foot. He signed a new contract, as Ricky was saying. So we've got him for next season, and his partnership with Kane, they kind of read one another, don't they? The chemistry was there. Look, that ball from Kane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the movement, this is what I was saying to you earlier on about what I was impressed with Spurs was the intelligent movement that we were exercising. We were moving the ball quickly. I mean, before I end this, I think I've got to be honest. I think Harry's our best midfielder as well. Harry at times is capable of, well, dare I say, Hoddle-esque passes. Where you kind of you do that double take. That where did that come from? I mean, the game against City, I know we're talking about a song, but the City game where Kane was just, he was like 2 moves in front, and City just couldn't handle him. So yeah, as I keep saying, I'm really impressed with the 2 new guys, and Bentancur will become, I think, a really good player for Tottenham, and as Ricky said, an intelligent player. But yes, Sonny is, well, I think he will go down as a legend.
Yeah. Mike, let's come to you. Although Harry Kane didn't get on the score sheet today, 2 assists for him for both Heung-Min Son goals. What more can you say about Harry Kane that hasn't already been said? Because he is in exceptional form right now. He is. And I think, whatever went on in the summer, we are in the position we're in. And I think it's just, this is why people are so nervous regarding Conte's future, because I think we've probably all realised that his future is so closely linked to Conte's. Would the club be so determined to hold on to him when he's got 2 years left on his contract as opposed to 3 years if Conte left this summer and he had offers on the table? I don't know, but I feel if Conte stays this summer, I think it would be having committed to a longer term deal, because I don't believe that the club would be content to start the season with him with just 12 months left on the contract. And I think that would ultimately be a vote of confidence that would mean a lot to Kane as well, because you can see, I think, he was enthused and excited about playing for Mourinho. It didn't work out, but, he clearly, whatever you say about Mourinho, players like Son and Kane were excited about being able to work with someone who had won everything, basically. And I think the same is true of Conte in terms of the things that he's achieved. So I think we've got Kane who's really motivated, really switched on. Not everything he tried today worked, in fairness, but it's impossible that it's going to work every time. And the fact that he was still trying it is the thing you want to see from Kane. And obviously you have to give a mention to Højbjerg, who is becoming a bit of a habit right now of doing these really deftly sort of clipped balls into Kane in the area. It worked against Leeds a
a few weeks ago, and it should have worked today for that goal that he just couldn't quite put away. But no, he's in really good form. He's got a chance maybe of closing in on that. Aguero, I think, is the next big name on his list of targets for all-time Premier League goal scorer. And I just think, who knows what's going to happen in the future? But right now, I'm at a point as a Spurs fan with Kane that I'm just really enjoying having him. Every goal he scores for us, I think that's fantastic. There's another sort of number on his tally for us. And let's hope that we can have that dream of having him stay with us for the rest of his career and achieve everything he wants right here.
Do you think he will end up breaking Jimmy Greaves' record at Spurs, Mike?
If he stays, I think, barring injury, then absolutely. But as I say, it's a little bit like we've got so much on our plate right now, trying to get into the top four. Yeah. I'm trying not to think too much about the summer. I'm just concentrating on April first and foremost. Let's get through April, and let's see what the future holds. But yeah, I do feel that Kane's future is really closely linked to Conte's, and hopefully, results like today can give us some confidence that both of their futures involve Spurs.
Ricky, let's come to you. 35th minute, West Ham, as we said earlier, didn't even have a shot on target to this point. And then, of course, they got the corner, and then we conceded the goal. Benrahma got the goal for West Ham. He seemed to lose Son at the far post and had so much room to put it in the net. Disappointing, wasn't it? Because Spurs at that point were fully in control of the game.
Yeah, we was fully in control. And that's what I wanted us to kind of continue doing. I didn't want to give them any type of a sniff, or any type of encouragement. But that one goal came and I was just like, oh, here we go. You know what I mean? Because we were playing phenomenally. We was in total control of that football, and we dictated play throughout that first half. So to give them any encouragement, I was just like, oh, come on. Because you know what, it's always a barnstorm against West Ham. It's always a battle. It's never over until the 90 minutes, until that last whistle is blown. It's never, ever over. And so to give them any encouragement, I was just like, oh, come on, Tottenham. We do it to ourselves. We beat ourselves up. I don't know what it is with set plays, whether it's defending them or taking them. There's a big problem there with Tottenham and set plays. I felt that against Brighton, their plan was to get as many crosses and as many set plays as they could. And they did that. And Brighton done that. But we defended well. We defended as a unit. So I thought, okay, cool. They have worked on this in training. They are aware of it. So let's keep that going. So to get a corner and concede from a corner today, I was just like, oh, come on. I didn't want any of the boys to drop their body language or to drop their heads or to be like, and expect the worst. They didn't. And that's what I was most impressed with against Man United as well. Every time we conceded a goal, the response to go and get that goal or to fight or to get back in the game, it was there. So today, as soon as they scored the goal, it wasn't like West Ham were in control. It's not like they had 4 shots after that. It's not like they made us any more nervous than it was. We almost got angry as a unit and was like, all right, let's take the ball back. And we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. So that's what was encouraging to see. But again, I don't know what it is with set plays, Chris. I don't know what it is, mate. Whether we're defending them or taking them, there's always a drama. There's always a problem, isn't there?
Yeah. Mike, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot here. I just wanted to come back to you and ask you your opinion on this as a broadcast journalist, because 10 minutes into the second half, a number of fans run onto the Tottenham Hotspur pitch, try to tie themselves to the goal, as we've seen in previous games. Can you tell us any more information of why this is happening?
I don't. I mean, I obviously it happened particularly in the Everton game, didn't it? Where did you see the pictures? It was incredible. I think Jamie Carragher's got it as his Twitter profile picture now of the guy. Just his teeth, it's like his false teeth look like they were going to fly out as he's got the bolt cutters just trying to get through.
I did watch that, yeah.
But no, I don't know. I mean, I think the process was something to do with oil, wasn't it, for the Everton game? But today, the TV cameras just completely. We didn't see it on TV from start to finish what was going on. It was quite surreal, actually. You could see literally the players in the penalty area. They're all looking off camera at what was going on. But I don't know. I mean, we've seen different trends in sport over the years of how it is a global platform to get a message across. But no, I don't know anything beyond what we've seen. It's just that obviously it's something that the authorities were aware of, because I think the ground staff were on whoever was doing it today very, very quickly, so it didn't disrupt things too much.
They were brilliant, actually. All of the Spurs staff, it seemed like they were all ready and they knew it was going to happen. They dealt with it very, very quickly. So well done to Tottenham. Andy, let's come to you now. During the 90 minutes at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today, you would have known the whole of the crowd singing Antonio, and he always applauds the crowd. The Spurs fans are absolutely loving our manager right now.
Big time. And yeah, well, as you guys have all pointed out, look, he's very demonstrative. He's hugely passionate. And I think, we've all kind of connected with him, He wants it, as he says. He's driven by ambition, and we all like that. And the crowd have got to him as well. Yeah, he appreciates the crowd singing his name. As I say, he's very demonstrative. And I just think people like watching him. We all want him at Tottenham. As I keep telling you, I think most Tottenham fans, it is imperative that he stays. Look, if Conte goes, then I will start cutting myself again.
Stop it, Andy.
Probably need therapy, but I might not be alone here. It'll be one of those Conte casualty yet coming. Yeah. Go on, let's have a look at the Mars bars. No.
Andy, do you expect Antonio Conte to be here next season?
I really hope. But as I say, I really don't mean to be the ultimate pessimist here, but you just don't know with Tottenham, do you? I think he's got to be. The fans love him. We all do. I think we're on the right route. He knows you get the impression that Conte knows what he wants for this team. And he knows the areas that need filling, in my opinion. But yes, the fans love him. And you could hear him singing, and he appreciates that as well. And not all managers get that, do they, really? A connection with the fans and the manager, You've only got to ask a fella called Mr. Graham, who won us a trophy, so who I actually thought, well done, we won a trophy. But yes, we're desperate. Well, I am anyway. I'm sure thousands of Tottenham fans are desperate.
That connection, though, Andy, it's there so quickly, isn't it?
Yes, because I just think the emotion pours out of him. He's so demonstrative. He so wants it. Yeah, maybe a lot of it also is for him, but he wants it. But Poch did. I thought Poch was a wonderful manager for us. So, all right, I know it didn't work out, but he tried to make us a league side and got us runners up for the first time in 53 years. All right, we've got to move on now. And we've actually got a manager here that, well, there's hope, don't you think, guys?
Mm.
Andy, we've actually got a question from Colin here. Any more Count Arthur Strong anytime soon?
Tragically, no. Although I went to see Steve. Steve's touring at the moment. He's got a great show. No, there won't be. But it is what it is. You've got to move on. But good show, though. I enjoyed doing it.
Mike, let's come to you. Now, in the 63rd minute, Heung-Min Son to Harry Kane played regular on in. He wasn't happy. He felt that he was brought down, wanted a penalty. Was it a penalty for you?
Trying to remember back to it. I think at the time, it's a real bugbear of mine this season. I can't remember a season we've had so few penalties. I mean, we had the Dele Alli one away to Wolves in the second game. Obviously, Kane against Man United. But in the league, I mean, Kane hasn't had his best goal scoring year, but if we got the same number of penalties as a lot of sides, then he'd be well up the charts, to be perfectly honest with you. And I do think, coming back to some of the points the guys were making earlier, we didn't even have like a moment where we could all groan because Kane was stepping up to send the free kick over the bar, as sadly he does most weeks right now. We didn't even have any sort of free kicks in particularly threatening positions today. And I do think that's an issue we need to look at, that the days of having like someone like Aaron Lennon tearing into the box and causing mayhem and being brought down. I think, I do feel that we've got the players who can stretch defences to get that. But I don't know. Yeah, I remember it back to that Reguilon. I mean, it wasn't where you'd be sort of tearing your hair out saying that absolutely should have happened. But certainly it's in the category of we've all seen them given, I think. So I was disappointed we didn't get that one.
Mike, you've mentioned the free kicks. We mentioned this subject on most shows that we do. Now you've mentioned it, we might as well bring it up again. Who would you have on the free kicks? I know we didn't get one today, but who would you have on the free kicks? Because most Spurs fans seem to be very frustrated that Harry Kane is still on them.
Eric Dier every time, and just give him a run of it. And if he goes, weeks, a month without scoring, without threatening, then try someone else. But I look back on it, and I would say the one reasonably successful free kick I can remember this season was against Leeds, taken by Dier, and that's where it almost gets forgotten that it was a Dier free kick, and it was obviously Reguilon who was following up to put it in the back of the net, but it was Dier. I think it was deflected onto the post, and obviously in that situation the player wants to score, and that's the aim. But if you can't score, then cause a bit of mayhem, and unfortunately these Kane free kicks, they just don't seem to get results at all. So I would say absolutely Dier every time right now, and let's see where it can take us.
Mike, do you think that Eric Dier should have been called up to the England squad?
I'm absolutely with Andy on this, that I'm disappointed for him, but with our luck, I mean, it's been such a long time since we've had an international break. We haven't had the whole kind of drama of checking social media to see which player has got a knock against in Buenos Aires last night, and which players come into close contact with someone who's got COVID. I mean, there's kind of sort of, it's stressful enough when the matches are being played, let alone when there's a break in play. So I think he can count himself unlucky, I think, and Southgate is someone who's quite loyal to players. I feel like he's shown a lot of loyalty to Harry Maguire, who's some really poor form. You could say Tyrone Mings isn't having a brilliant season, but he's still in there. So I think it's disappointing from Dier's point of view, particularly with what he's achieved in an England shirt in the past, and incredible experience he's got playing at multiple tournaments for his country. But no, I think in fairness, you look back to where he was, going back into the first lockdown where he was going into the crowd and having that unfortunate incident, and you thought at that time, is his Spurs career over? He's knuckled down. He's made that position in the heart of the three-man defence's own. And I think, if he can continue, stay injury-free through to the end of the season and get the time on the training pitch with Conte, then I think that will more than compensate him for not getting the call up for now. Hopefully, it's a long time to go till we've got the World Cup this December. So maybe that's a long-term target for Dier. Yeah,
absolutely. Ricky, let's come to you now. How impressed have you been with Christian Romero, in particular today's performance? Because in the 68th minute, very, very strong, very powerful defensive play from him. Really good play in the 70th minute again. Unbelievable player for us, isn't he?
Unbelievable player. A player that we really needed. A player that, has come in and shown his class week in, week out. Even when he gets the odd yellow, sometimes they're unnecessary yellows, like the one against Brighton, where he just hacked the man down. But that was through his own frustration. He had the ball at that point, knocked it forward a little bit, lost it, realized that he lost it and they could be on a counter, and then decided to take out the man. But today, if you look at him, he was so calm and composed. He was always in control. At one point today, he lost the ball when doing one of those maneuvers, but he sprinted back and then just shouldered him off the ball, picked it back up, and then really, really calmly set the play again. And then we was off on another counter attack. Romero gives us so much. A lot of people are kind of like sometimes confused, or sometimes a bit kind of bemused that he's in the opposition penalty area or he makes those runs, but it confuses the the defenders. It confuses those defenders that are there marking Kulu or Kane or Sonny or or having Bentancur come in. It confuses them having another man and another option in the opposition box. He's just fantastic, bro. He's just fantastic. I'm just so happy that we signed him. A bit like what Andy said there. Like if we can get a few more in to improve this squad in the summer, then who knows where we could be, who knows where we could go, and that's exciting in itself. But remember, it's his first season in the Premier League. He's another kind of Paratici success story, success signing. He was out for I don't know how long, a month, 2 months, and then he's just since he's come back in, you can see he's a class above. But you know what? Just to jump on Dier, as the boys were talking about Dier as well. The biggest thing that I can say about Dier is this: look at the side without him in it. So he was not in the side for I don't know what was it, a month, maybe 5 weeks. We had Sanchez there. I can't remember. Jaffet as well was trying to fill in, and we looked a different side. We looked a lot more shaky. When he's come in, his leadership. Now he's always had leadership qualities, but I feel that under Conte, that has grown so much. With his kind of being able to speak, Portuguese as well as English, he can communicate with that back three. My apologies. And for someone like Romero to have Dier alongside him, it just allows Romero to go play his game because he knows he can trust Dier to do the job that he needs to do right there. And that's what's really nice. That's what I was saying about kind of the continued starting 11. Having that continuity right there because they're starting to trust and believe and work and fight for each other. So having Dier sitting alongside him right now and kind of calming the play, as well as being a bit of a leader, as well as being able to talk and communicate with everyone that's in that back five system, it's a beautiful thing, man. And this is just scratching the surface of Romero. If we could cut out a couple of the silly yellow cards.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. But I don't want to take the fire out of him. I don't want to take the fight out of him. I think we need that. I think if we go back to the Amazon documentary when Mourinho was there and he was talking about the squad being nice boys, being a nice set of boys, talking about how we need a little bit of anger, a little bit of grit, and then he used some words that I'm not going to use on this channel right now, Chris, just because I've got love for you, brother. But we all know what those words were, and Romero gives us that. He gives us a bit of an edge. He gives us a bit of fire. And you can see his will to win. His want to win. How much a win means to him. How much a clean sheet means to him. So it's just the beginning with Romero right now. But all I can say is class. Absolutely class. Rolls Royce of a defender we got there.
Andy, let's come to you. In the 71st minute, Kulusevski had a shot over the bar. What have you made of Dejan Kulusevski since arriving in the January transfer window? Because him and Rodrigo Bentancur, they look like they have been at Spurs for months, if not years, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier on, I think that really has impressed me that the two buys from Juve overall settled in very quickly. And let's be brutally honest, guys. The Premiership, well, in my opinion, I dare say yours as well, it's the quickest, the most physical league on the planet, in my opinion. And they've settled in very well. Kulusevski works hard, and he is a skillful player. As I said earlier on, look, if this kid had pace as well, he could have, as I say, he could be unplayable. I'm impressed with a pair of them. I thought Bentancur had a great game today as well. He's got a very sort of languid style. I don't know if you guys agree with that. There are times when I look at it and think, hang on a minute, mate. Well, hang on, mate. You've got someone up you. And he's got a sense of awareness about him. I thought he had a terrible game against Man U, but you can see the technique and vision of it. He's a deep-lying well, my opinion is he's a deep line midfield player with defensive qualities, but the two of them, I mean, they've only been there since January, just under 3 months. Hugely impressed with a pair of them. And they were both really on their game today, in my opinion. Made a huge difference. Kulusevski, did he get an assist today? No, it was Harry, wasn't it, who got them? But he's 21. I mean, he looks 31, but perhaps he's had an hard life. No idea, maybe. I don't know. He may have had an hard life, but he's 21 and he's got it all in front of him. And as I say, Bentancur is, give this guy time. Once he really settles, he could be the linchpin for Tottenham in midfield. I still think we need something else in midfield as an option, guys. You know, someone who can seriously carry the ball forward with a bit of penetration, possibly, but that's down to Conte. But I'm hugely impressed with a pair of them.
Mike, can I come on to you about Bentancur as well? Because, how impressed have you been with him at the heart of that centre midfield? Because these last 2 games, man of the match performance.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think everyone made their mind up about Kulusevski after 2 substitute appearances where he didn't look very good. And we've brilliantly had that sort of turned around a lot. But I made my mind up on Bentancur after those first couple of appearances, and I thought he's going to be one of my favourite Tottenham players. You just sometimes a player makes the debut, and you just think he's got that class about him that he'll have good games and have bad games, but he's gonna try things in the match, and he's gonna be confident in possession. I think he did a lot that was so good today, and I think one of my favourite moments was in a spell of dominance in the second half from West Ham when they were getting a bit of a head of steam up, obviously without troubling Hugo. And he just thought this game's a little bit in the balance at 2-1. He was, in the middle of midfield asking for the ball. He was making himself available. And there's been times this season, I mean, times in every season, but particularly times in this season where we've had players who didn't really want the ball because we were struggling. So it's great to see someone who himself, he's what is he, 24? He's pretty young as well, although he's got more experience of winning with Juventus in the past. So no, it's a very impressive start. And I think with him and Kulusevski, what I'm really interested in is, again, we make a lot of assumptions with them. I think we all, as pleased as we were to see them in January, I think they both had that little kind of air about them of, well, we brought them in because we couldn't get Traore and because we couldn't get Diaz. And it's like, Paratici has got on the phone to Juventus and said, bring them in. I would love to know whether there's truth to that or whether we're actually trying to sign all 4 of them. Because I think you look at those 2 players and you think they're good enough to have been targets regardless of whether we got Traore. And they play in different positions as well. So I think they're really, really good signings. And, where the summer transfer window, you have to say, as good as Romero has been overall, it was a mixed transfer window for Paratici starting out. You can't say it was a resounding success. January, in terms of incomings, has been excellent, and it gives you a lot of hope for what he might be able to do this summer. Hopefully, working in tandem with Conte.
Yeah. Ricky, let's come to you. Let's talk about Tottenham Hotspur's 3rd goal in the 88th minute. Hugo Lloris with a goal kick. Harry Kane flicked on. Heung-Min Son finished. Another wonderful goal.
Bro, I was jumping around the house. Do you know what? I watched the game in my house by myself, right? But the missus was upstairs. She's been a little bit ill. But the missus is upstairs. And, throughout the game, I don't need nobody to talk to. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking to the TV and I'm talking to the Tottenham spirits because I was effing, blinding. I'm like, come on, let's do this, let's do that. As soon as they scored that 3rd goal, because it just settled everything. We knew that the win was going to be there. We wasn't going to get no 85th minute, 90th goal off of West Ham. Lanzini wasn't going to rocket one from wherever he wanted to shoot from. As soon as that goal went in, it just settled everything, and it was nothing more than we deserved. It was nothing more than we deserved. We had the chances, even in the first half, to have like a 3-goal lead, you know. But it was just beautiful. Route one. You know, goal kick from Hugo. People talk about his distribution. It's not the greatest, but look at that today. He saw where Harry was, got it pinpoint. Harry out jumped the defender, whoever it was. I can't remember. It might have been Zuma at the time. But like out jumped him, not only out jumped him, but had an intelligent flick. Don't ever think that was a fluke. Harry knew where Sonny is. He doesn't have to look for Sonny. He knows where he is. So to get that, and then for Sonny to just firstly run on into goal, and then slot it away as classily as he did. Oh my gosh. I was running around the room, bro. I was shouting, hollering. The missus is like, I was like, babe, don't worry. We're 3-1 up. We're 3-1 up. Do you know what I mean? I don't even know what she said. But I was like, we're 3-1 up. Come on, you Spurs. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah, ecstatic, bro. Ecstatic. But you know what? Andy was saying there about the pace of Kulusevski. You know what? He's a player. All right, first, and Mike was saying it as well there. The first 2 games that Kulusevski played, we can only judge as Tottenham fans on what we see. So in those small cameos, the thing that we could come out with was, yes, he's got both feet. Yes, he's a bit technical, but we clocked that there was an electric pace, which we're used to as Tottenham fans, being on that right-hand side, whether it be Mora, Lennon, Bale, we used to having pace there. But Kulu does not need the pace. Look, he has a turn of pace. He's not rapid. He's not lightning quick. We know that. But a bit like Modric, a bit like Carrick, a bit like Berbatov, Teddy Sheringham, these players did not need the pace. They used their pace, what they had, intelligently, and that's what Kulu does. He uses his intelligence, never makes an obvious ball, always there. He can kind of dribble around 3 or 4. He can hold people off with his square, broad shoulders. He's a big guy. He can deal with the physical stuff, and he can deal with the technical stuff. He gets a cross in. There's so much to his game that, like Andy was saying there, if he did have pace, he would be unbelievably unplayable. But you know what? He doesn't need it. He uses the pace that he has intelligently. And for the side, look, I love Lucas. I love Lucas to bits. Lucas is a legend just for those goals in Amsterdam, right? And he's trouble. He's a whippet. But Kulu brings something totally different to our game. Bentancur, all right, look, against Man United, he dawdled on the ball, I felt, a couple of times, got caught out a couple of times. But the first thing he done against Brighton was rectify that. He was like, I'm not going to do that again. And then he kind of built on that rectification today against West Ham. The moment, I can't remember what minute it was, but he was surrounded by players, and he done some twinkle toes, and he done a turn, and it was dangerous. It was dangerous. Think about it. If West Ham would have picked up that ball off of him, and they could have had an easy run at goal there. They could have had an easy break at goal. But no. Bentancur, with his intelligence, with his twinkle toes, turned them inside out and found a forward pass for Harry Kane. I know we were talking about the second goal earlier, but I didn't mention it. Think about Bentancur's pass there. Another risky pass. Declan Rice could have intercepted that. If it was a little shorter, if it was less powerful, if it was less accurate, but it was perfectly placed for Harry to get on it, turn, and find Sonny for that second goal. So it's just beautiful to see these two coming to the side, and like you said there, like they've always been there. It's great to get 2 signings in January that can affect our first 11. It was the only criticism that I had of the summer, that we brought in 2 players that could affect the first 11, which was Romero and Emerson Royale at that point. The rest of the boys that came in, Galini, Hill, Sarr, they wasn't there for the first team, So they brought in 2 players that, like Conte has said, has made our squad more complete. We're seeing more out of these 2 players than we ever seen out of Ndombele and Lo Celso. So we're in a much stronger point right now. And to jump on what Mike was saying there about January, maybe like looking at all 4 of the signings, including Traore, I think, and Diaz, I think they were. I think we've heard it. I think we've heard it from Conte, where he said, we've had 4 go out, and on paper we've brought in 2. So mathematically, number-wise, we're short. So I think he was looking at those 4 players. So it's all good right now. We've got Paratici looking and searching for players that can come in and affect the first 11 and affect the first 11 under a Conte system. Sky's the limit, boys. Sky's the limit. Come on.
I love hearing that excitement in your voice. I really do. And the more excited you get, the more Andy is drinking his wine. Andy,
you've noticed, have you? No, I'm not. Is that apparent and transparent? Yeah.
We got to get him on with Vega, Chris.
Wow, that would be a show. That really would. Andy, let's come to you. Now, Spurs are up to 5th in the Premier League. We're now only 3 points away from the top 4. We've played a game more than Arsenal. We've now played 29, which means we have 9 games left. We've won 16. We've drawn 3. We've lost 10. We've got a goal difference of plus 11 of now. We're, of course, in the international break. How confident are you, Andy, that Tottenham Hotspur can get and will get the Champions League spot at the end of the season?
This is where I leave you guys.
He's going to get another bottle.
Yes.
I've got to ask the question. I know it's a very difficult one because we're up, down, up, down, up, down. But of course, it's been a great week. It's been the perfect week for us. A win at Brighton, a win today. Of course, we've got Newcastle next. How confident are you that Tottenham will get the Champions League spot? Or is it more realistic to say that we will get a Europa League spot or a Europa Conference League spot? What are you thinking?
Look, yeah, we could get Champions League. I agree with all of that. Yes, we could. We were great today. Rick, you're talking about Brighton, Bentancur. What a beautiful ball he put through to Kane, that run. And yes, we could. I've been supporting Spurs for 300 years. Can we do it? Yes, we can. But guys, Chris, as you mentioned earlier on, it's the consistency. As you said, win, lose, win, lose, win. And look, if we're going to do it, guys, then seriously, Conte knows this as well. We've got to get on a serious run here.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to beat Newcastle. We've got to go away and beat Villa as Arsenal did. I will bring up Arsenal. Look, I'm one of the few Tottenham fans that I've got a begrudging admiration for them. I don't call them the scum. I don't see them as the Woolly Wanderers. At the moment, they are in the zone. I'm afraid to say they are. They're in the zone. Yes, if we beat them and we go on a run, we've got every chance. But my only problem and fear with Tottenham, even under Conte at the moment, and he knows this, is come the crunch, come when it really matters, the big prize, we either we turn up and we're woeful, or we just don't deliver. And I don't know if it's part of our DNA. I don't know. We have a chance, but seriously, guys, we've got to come to the front and stay at the front.
So do you think we'll get Champions League then?
No. I think we'll get Europa. I think we'll be in the Thursday Cup, which is fine. Look, I don't see it as a complete disaster as long as Conte needs to stay and we build from there. We have got a chance. Look, not all is dead and buried. No.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid to say I'm not one of these Tottenham fans that has got rose-tinted glasses where, of course, we're going to get it. Have faith in the team. Of course, we're going to stay up. Circa 1977. Finishing bottom. Yeah, okay. No, I hope we get it, because those European tours are great, and you do want to go to Madrid, and you do want to go to Munich, as opposed to some sparrow fart town like in some wilderness in far eastern Europe somewhere. where you can still hear shells going off. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know, Andy, it may come as a surprise to you, but I actually went to all of the European Conference League away games this season. And it was very, very different to going to the Champions League aways, the Europa League aways, and now going to the Europa Conference League. Very, very different. Incredibly different. Mike, let's come to you. Now, we've got Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Brentford, Leicester, Liverpool, Burnley, Norwich, and then, of course, that game to be rescheduled against Arsenal. 9 Premier League games left. How confident are you, if you were a betting man, would you be betting that Spurs would finish in the top 4?
I believe we're going to do it. I don't know. I'm just sorry to say that after you so perfectly describe why you're not completely confident, Andy. But
sorry,
Tottenham's about dreaming for me, and I've had my dreams dashed by Tottenham so many times over the years. I'm allowed to still dream. The fact that I'm still doing it, I think I've earned the right to dream for a little bit longer. And I just think, we've known we're more than capable of blowing this opportunity. We know that as far as the Sky are concerned, because it's going to be them who show it, they've believed for a long time that this North London derby is going to be effectively a playoff for 4th place, like the trip we had to Man City under Harry all those years ago was a playoff for 4th place. And I just feel, that result today for us means I believe that it's going to be the case that will be a decider. As much as anything, because as I said earlier on, we've proved to ourselves as much as anyone else that we've got the consistency to string 2 wins together, and we've got to do that. We've got to take as many points as we can in this run of games, and obviously it's about us as opposed to anyone else first and foremost. But provided we can do that, I have to say, looking at the fixtures that Arsenal have got, they've got some horrible fixtures on paper. Yeah. And the other thing is, and I completely agree with Andy, I don't have a problem at all saying Arsenal are playing well. There's a lot to admire about what they've done this season from that horrendous start they had, where we thought that, people were talking about them being relegated, which was ridiculous. But, it was really poor at the start of the season. They've turned that around. But I have to say, with the exception of a very poor Spurs side on the day, they haven't beaten any of the top 6 in the league this season in any of their fixtures. Arsenal, every time they played very well against Manchester City, they lost. They played very well against Liverpool, they lost. If Arsenal are going to get top 4, they're going to have to get a result in one of these games at least against what they got: Chelsea away, Man United at home, Spurs away. They're going to have to get a result somewhere, and they may do it. If they do it, we'll have to hold our hands up and say they've deserved it. Yeah. But I think that's the crucial thing. Yes, we've got a mental block about can we turn up for the real crunch fixture. We know it's an all or nothing match, like the Champions League final, like countless other games we've seen. Liverpool away last season under Jose, where we could have gone top and it didn't happen. Yeah, absolutely. So much pressure on us, but there's pressure on Arsenal as well. Can they truly deliver a result against one of the top sides? And on the evidence we've seen so far this season, they're a very good footballing side, but they don't quite have that edge. And I have to believe that's going to be how it plays out, but we'll see.
Is that the team you're most worried about, Mike, Arsenal?
Yeah, I think so. I think so because I just think Ralph Rangnick looked like you could see the logic of what Man United would do appointing him, but I just think now they're out of the Champions League, and I just think there's just a real feeling amongst the squad there. From what you read, there's divisions there. There's players sort of comments coming out that get leaked into the press, and I just feel they know it's very hard to perform when you know for certain this is someone who's keeping the seat warm for another manager next season. That might prove to be the case with Conte, but I don't think anyone can say for certain he won't be here next season. And I just think it's that edge. They've got the best squad of the teams competing for the top 4, Man United. I think most people would say that, but they don't have the best team. And credit to them. Ronaldo was fantastic against us last week, but we, had ourselves to blame in that match to a very large extent. So I think it's between us and Arsenal. And let's just hope. If you said to me now that when that fixture, probably in the last week of the season, is played, that is going to be a decider. If we can be in a position where that's a decider, I will settle for that and I will accept the result whichever way it goes.
Ricky, you've been on this channel, every month basically during this season, and I've asked you the same question: where you think Spurs will finish in the Premier League? We've got 9 games left now. What are you thinking?
Oh, the last time I was on, I said sick, didn't I? And the whole panel said sick after that Man United result. But today, my belief is high. My heart is high. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do, Chris? How am I supposed to answer this, bro? Like, look, right now, okay, the one thing that we've got is Antonio Conte, who is a born serial winner. Right now, we're starting to see the Conte Tottenham. We're starting to see them act off of instinct on positions in play. Right now, we've got a Harry Kane who is not only just on fire, but is mentally ready to take on this challenge. That is loving life under Conte. That is seeing the whole side progress. Do you know what I mean? We've got Sonny there on overlaps. We've got a young Swede called Kulusevski who is there, who is a technical G on the right-hand side right now. We've got a partnership in midfield, which we, the fans, can trust. If we're not just talking about Bentancur, but look at Højbjerg today. Like Mike was saying earlier, not only is he there breaking up play, picking up the ball, finding short passes, but he's there and doing kind of assists that or like chip balls for goal scoring opportunities that nobody kind of expects from him, which is a beautiful thing to see. We're starting to see this back five in total kind of start to work together, start to trust each other. And we ain't even hit our peak yet. So with all of these things, it can only say to me that, I mean, we can do it. Of course we can do it. Of course we can do it. You know, Ali Gold said it, and it's an old Godfather quote, but every time that you think you're out, they bring you back in. They just draw you back in. And the one thing Lloris said last week, I think it was after Man United, where he was like, it's not over. And you saw the boys not only say it, but show it against Brighton, against West Ham today. West Ham today is a massive game. Yes, they had 120 minutes against Seville during the week, but they were at home. They didn't have travelling time as well. We all know it's their cup final. We all know that they love to not only score at Tottenham, but to win at Tottenham. And so we had a lot against us today, but we showed up, and we showed up in a way in which says that these boys want it and they're starting to believe it. So if the boys believe it, if Antonio believes it, I've got to believe it. I've got to back them. Look at that crowd today. If that crowd continues to support us in the high moments and the low, I mean, come on. Of course it's there for us. Of course it's there for us. So are we going to do it? We've got Liverpool to play. It's the only one that I'm really worried about in this last run-in. But are we going to... Do you know what? I was going to swear. But I'm not going to swear. I'm just going to say, today, yes, we are. Yes, we are. It took me a long time to get there. But, Chris, we can do it. We can get that top 4. Of course we can.
Andy, let's come to you. I think 3 of us are convinced, and I think 3 of us are back into it. I'm not sure Andy's there yet. Are you?
We'll get in there.
Yeah, I want to be. Look, Mike was talking about his, and you're right, Mike. Look, you are entitled to dream. I too used to dream, but my dreams of Spurs have become nightmares.
We've had a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. Over the last 58 years I've been going and supporting them for 60. So, you know.
But you've seen trophies then, Andy. You've seen trophies. Tell us about the trophy.
Yes, I have. Yeah, FA Cups and I was there with the European and great. I feel sorry for the younger generation today that haven't seen that. But look, I want to believe like the rest of you. Actually, look, we could. Look, Rick's right. We could do it, and Mike is right as well. Look, if it all comes together, Chris, yes, we could do it. You know, per chance to dream. But we're Spurs. We are Tottenham, aren't we? And it's like, I don't know.
It's happened so many times.
It's like winning the derby and getting disqualified. You know, it's kind of but we could do it. I just feel if we keep Conte, I don't know about Champions League next season, but if we keep him and trust him, possibly it's a gamble, yes, but the board needs to. We have a future. Whether we get Champions League this season or not, or we get fifth, and we go into Europa, but I believe if we keep him, I think we got a gamble, guys, don't you? Don't you think the board maybe have got a gamble on a serial winner, as Rick said?
I'm going to ask that. I'm going to ask that in a second, Andy, on the final question. But because you and Mike are on here for the very, very first time, I just wanted to ask you why you support Spurs, what got you into Tottenham, and what was your first game. Andy, let's start with you.
Well, I used to live in Tottenham. I'm from Tottenham. Although I was born in Bandit country, Islington, Lee Whittington. So consequently, if we hadn't moved from Islington, I'd have known what it's like to win the bloody league. But there you are. So I was brought up in Tottenham, around Tottenham. And as a kid, you supported the team that was on your manor. There wasn't a case of, oh man, I mean, there weren't shirts. There wasn't, you had a rosette. You bought a rosette. Or you might have a scarf. That was it. So, yeah, I'm a Tottenham lad. And I'm very, very fortunate to see the likes of Greaves and Mackay, my favourite player, and blah, blah, blah. My Saturday afternoon heroes. That's why I'm a Spurs fan. I'm brought up in Tottenham.
Mike, what about you?
Well, I always feel slightly bad with this because I wish I could say that, I have the sort of heritage of growing up in the area and I've come from generations. Maybe not, but no, I'm afraid I kind of I'm from Bournemouth. Bournemouth should be my team, but the truth is, growing up, I wasn't into football at all. Really, as a child, it just wasn't sort of something I was into. But it kind of all changed with the 1990 World Cup. Really got into football then, and obviously there were some key England players who played for Tottenham, and it just turned out that a load of my friends who were into football I didn't realise were Tottenham fans, and they kind of converted me that way, and it's just stuck ever since. And it's just been an absolute obsession, a joy, a heartache, everything. But every step of the way I've lived as a Tottenham fan ever since. And as for my first game, finally got to go and see a game at White Hart Lane when I was 16, I think it was. I got to see, I think it's a fixture which we can all live long in the memory for everyone. It was FC Zimbru Chisinau of Moldova in the UEFA Cup. But it was an exciting game because it seemed like it was the first time we were back in Europe after goodness knows how long. I think after we won the Worthington Cup with George Graham. So that was an exciting night under the lights at the Lane, and seeing the likes of Chris Perry and Øyvind Leonardsen score right in front of me that night, I was hooked, and I certainly had no idea of what was to follow in the 20 odd years that have come since.
Hey.
Andy, I'll come back to you now. Final question for you all, and it's a big one, by the way. So answer it how you wish. Antonio Conte, do you think he's going to be successful at Tottenham Hotspur? Do you think he will lift a trophy at Spurs? And what are you expecting Antonio Conte will get in the summer in terms of players and your definition of him being backed?
Well, Joe, I think he's going to be. I'm hoping he'll be at Spurs. I really am, as I said earlier on. Look, if he's not, guys, that means what? We start all over again on a new project. Yes, I'm hoping. Look, if we do get top four, yes, he will stay. And again, look, I don't mean to bring the board into the scenario, but he needs to be backed. We have to trust him. and if he stays, we've got every chance of picking up, as Mike said, the Worthington Cup, the three-handled cup. We can do this, boys. We've done it before.
Come
And,
on.
you know, no, seriously, look, if he stays...
On a serious note, Andy, Antonio Conte is not here to be picking up a Carabao Cup, is he? He wants the big prizes. He wants to compete for the Premier League.
Of course, making light of it. Look, we want him to stay. He's a serial winner at Chelsea, Juventus, and the Italian side. I can't remember. He brought them up into the
Inter.
It was an Italian B side, Serie B. So yes, he is a serial winner, and you're right. He wants the league. He wants Europe. Look, guys, fingers crossed that we keep him. He's the best we could have got. And I want to believe.
So you think it will be successful, yeah?
I hope so. It's down to the board as well. They've got to back him. If they back him, we have every chance of winning something. Don't
Andy,
forget we went 2 transfer windows without buying anyone, and that was detrimental.
Yeah. Mike, I'm really interested to hear your view on this because I've counted 3 times that you've mentioned if Antonio Conte stays.
I just don't know. And that's the problem. I have to be honest. I feel more confident answering will we finish 4th than I am will Conte stay. And I just don't know. And yeah, absolutely. I want to believe. I want him to stay. But also, I have to be honest and say there's part of me that, you know, all these press conferences he's had where he's alluded to the possibility of him leaving and, you know, people analyse what he says. Is it kind of sending a message to the players? Is it sending a message to the board? I want Conte to stay, but I want a motivated Conte to stay. And I think, you know, if we went into next season and, you know, obviously part of it is going to be backing him and you know, giving him the players, you know, within reason that he expects to get. Then that's great, and we can feel he's really up for it. But if he sort of goes into it and he's a bit jaded and doesn't feel right about it, and he's casting an eye at other clubs, then honestly, I would rather we just sort of said, okay, thanks for your time, and we do what would truly be, I think, the painful rebuild that we've spoken about for so many years, where we probably would see some major players leave, and we'd have to say it's the start of a longer term project under perhaps a younger manager who's going to develop the side. But I think the truth is Conte said a lot in the last sort of few months that the way English football works is that there's the 4 sides at the top, and there's a possibility each season of one of them dropping out. And this year it's Man United, and that's the opportunity we want to get in. With what's happened at Chelsea in the last few weeks, we don't know what's going to happen. They might get snapped up by someone with huge wealth before the end of the season, and we'll say, okay, that's them secured for the next few years. But there's a possibility that next year it's not going to be 1 Champions League place that's up for grabs or 1 place in the top 4. It could be 2 places in the top 4. So I just feel if ever the club needed encouragement to think with the right man in charge, with the right investment, we can really achieve something, it's probably going to be in the months to come. So, you know, that gives me a lot of excitement, but it also gives me some trepidation of the fact that, you know, we've not always done that when the opportunity's been there. So I hope Conte will stay. I hope he's going to be backed, but I can't say, I'm afraid, anything more decisive than I just don't know.
I just can't imagine, Mike, that the fact that we would go from Pochettino to Jose Mourinho to Antonio Conte and not be successful. It can't happen, can it?
I know. It's when you put it that way, it's horrible, isn't it? You just can't believe it's that whole thing about how, you know, people said, oh, Tottenham are going to break Conte. You know, this guy who's successful everywhere he goes. It is unthinkable. But you know, we just have to see. My hope is that all of these quotes from Conte is because he wants to succeed at Tottenham. He is sending out a message, and the club did their research. They knew they've got Paratici there who knows Conte better than anyone, who knows what he's like. And so they're not going to be too reactionary when he comes out with these post-match statements and suggests he could be off. They know he's going to calm down after a few days and go again. But there's going to be a long-term vision of the fact that, you know, hopefully it was going to be those 4 players in January and not just the 2. And if we get top 4, then we can say, right, that's our chance to really invest in a way that we didn't do when we were getting top 4 for those successive windows under Pochettino. So that's definitely the hope.
Mike, what's realistic for you in terms of signing players in the summer transfer window? Because as Andy said right at the start of the stream, you know, we hadn't signed a striker since I think 2017. Fernando Llorente was the last striker that we actually signed on a permanent deal. It's crazy, isn't it? But what's realistic for you in the summer window to back Conte?
I just think, to me, it sounds like an obvious thing to say. No one's going to disagree with this, but I just feel for us it's quality over quantity now. That I think, you know, that's the lesson really from the summer compared to January. That in January, we were all a bit disappointed it was just the 2 players from Juventus, but they've come in and they start every game. And I think it's that thing of how, you know, I would rather, going back to when we sold Bale and, you know, the Garth Crooks, I think it was, quote about how we sold Elvis and bought the Beatles, and we were so excited with that. But it's like, you know, it's just, if you can bring in someone who is going to have absolute top quality to not necessarily hit the ground running, but after, you know, a short period, be acclimatized to the Premier League if they're coming from overseas and really make a difference. That's what I want to see. And so, yeah, it would be fantastic to bring in a top quality backup to Kane if we can hold on to him. But clearly it's the wing backs. I think we need a new right back. We need a new left back. I say we need a new left back because I personally think there's all this talk of Reguilon going in the summer. I just feel we're hearing it a bit too regularly now for there not to be something in that. So I think we're going to need 2 new wing backs if Conte stays, a new central defender, and certainly perhaps another central midfielder. That would be my priorities, I think.
Ricky, let's come to you. You're very used to me asking this same question.
Yeah, bro. But you know what? I'm going to keep my message a bit consistent, a bit like the team today, which is, you know, do not worry about Conte staying or going. It's wasted energy right now. From my point of view, he will be there next year at the very least, because he loves to leave the side that he's been with stronger than they are. And we ain't as strong as we need to be. He's only just started building. He's only brought in 2 players for his system. So he's going to want a summer to get more of those. And it's not like £100 million players. We're talking about the right players in the right positions that can give the everything that Conte wants. Not only physically, not only technically, but mentally as well, right? So as long as we get those players in, he's going to have us challenging next year. And what I would say to everyone out there is, like, don't worry about whether he stays or he goes. At one point, he's going to go. He was at Chelsea where he had everything. And after he won, he left. After Inter, he won, he left. So he could be with us, win the league, and leave. So it's all good to love him, but don't be in love with him. Like Poch, do you know what I mean? Like, love him right now. And that's not definitive either, whether he will go after winning with us.
But Ricky, are you confident that he's bringing the trophies first before he does go?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I think we are going to see a period of success, and I don't know what that's going to be. Whether that's a good long run in the Champions League, or whether we challenge again at the top of the table in the Premier League, or whether we pick up a trophy or 2. I think it's all there because you can see the level that he brings to the side and the demands that he puts on this Tottenham team. And you've seen them be encouraged by it and inspired by it. And we're seeing it week in, week out now that, all right, cool. If we carry on listening to him, if we carry on working off, if we carry on suffering, then the big results, the good results, the results that are going to push us forward, they are going to come. So it's like the boys have said, it's all about this summer. You know, I think he's going to want to be there to get his players in, to work with Tottenham. I think that he is encouraged by working with a kind of quote unquote underdog, you know, one that's not the favorite for the title. Because if he can build what we all hope that he can build, then how much bigger of an achievement is that for him? He could go to PSG, he could go to Real Madrid and win the league. He could go and do that. You know, but that's going to, I mean, what type of challenge is that? Right now, he's had a massive challenge. He's had to come through adversity to get us where we are right now. So if he can see, and all we've asked for, Chris, from the beginning of the season is progression, and that's what we've seen under Conte. So if he can see this progression, if he can see that not only the players that he's got, he's been able to improve and see a progression from them, but when he gets what he needs, how far can we actually reach? How far can we go? So don't worry about whether he stays or goes. He's going to be with us at least for next season. I believe that in my heart. All we have to do is back him. And what I mean by that as a fan base, again, is that when we're winning, sing, and when we're losing, pick them up, pick those boys up, and he appreciates that. He sees that. Do you know what I mean? He encourages it. You know, he like you called him when he first turned up, bro. You called him the conductor. Why? Because he conducted the crowd as well as the side on the field. So the sky's the limit for us. The sky's the limit for us under Antonio Conte. A bit like Harry Kane. Harry Kane was always leaving. You got to remember, after his one season wonder, oh yeah, he's going to go this summer. Oh yeah, he's going to go this summer. But did he not start the season wearing a cockerel on his shirt? Yeah, he did. So while Conte's wearing a cockerel on his shirt, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let the press and let Twitter and let everybody else deal with Tottenham negative headlines because they love it. Let's not get wrapped up in it. We've got a bigger roller coaster. We've had heartache up and down the whole season so far, just dealing with the football results and our side on the field. Don't worry about what's going on outside of it. Let Conte do what he's doing. Remember, key word that he said about press conferences is strategy. So he's going to use the press conferences to implement the strategy that he needs, which is to the board. Stop talking, start acting. Start acting. Don't talk to me about, oh, you're going to get me this, oh, you're going to give me this. Act. Show me what you're going to bring to the table. And if you bring what you say you're going to bring, then I'm going to be here to cook it up and put out a 5-star course for you guys over next season and over the seasons to come. So it's super encouraging. Don't you worry about it. Conte's got Kane. He's playing poker right now with the board. He's got Kane in his pocket right now in the sense of they're interlinked. They're interlinked. If Conte goes, do you not think that Harry Kane's going to think, well, I'm not here for another up and down, up and down, up and down. I thought we was building something. Again, it's another full stone. Well, maybe I'll look for a move now. Listen, Levy's backed into a corner right now where he has to deliver. He has to put the money on the table and back Conte and back Paratici with the players and the system and everything else going forward. And then who knows, bro? Who knows what we can achieve? Not only this season, but the end of next season.
Well, just a couple of quotes here. One from Harry Kane. He said, great feeling, back-to-back wins at an important time, big push after the international break. Heung-Min Son said the performance, the effort and the commitment was fantastic. Of course it was, winning 3-1 today. Andy, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media and what you're up to at the moment.
You can find me on social media. Yes, I don't do a lot. I'm a bit of an anachronism. What am I up to? Quickly, guys. Yeah, I'm going up to Edinburgh. I'm doing a one-man play about the fluctuating fortunes of a horse racing tipster called Baxter versus the Bookies. I have 2 Edinburgh previews on the 17th and 18th of July. At the Hen and Chickens, where the Hen and Chickens, which is St Paul's Road, it's Bandit Country, Highbury and Islington. I will repeat that, Bandit Country. At the Hen and Chickens, but turn up if you are an Arsenal fan. You might enjoy it. So I'm doing that at the moment. Baxter versus the Bookies, up to Edinburgh to lose a fortune. Come back and watch Tottenham. That's what I'm up to.
Andy, I've got to ask before you go. What was it like being part of the Harry Potter series?
Great. I enjoyed it. A wonderful gig to do. They really look after you. They gave me a lovely Sky Sports little TV there in my Winnebago. Watching, was it West Ham, Millwall? I think it League Cup. Well, what a war that was. Yes,
I thought you said they treated you nicely.
No, it was wonderful. A great match. Then they pulled me off to do a bit of work. I did say, look, they are going into extra time. But, you need me. All right, fine. They did look after you. It's a great gig to do. I went to the premiere, red carpet. I couldn't believe. I have no idea about Harry Potter. I was more into Lord of the Rings as a kid. It was. They asked me so many ridiculous questions at the preview. What are these kids going to do now? They asked me. What, now Harry Potter's finished. I don't know. Turn to smack. I've no idea.
My God.
I've no idea. Yeah. And I've got these Japanese people asking me what's it like to, ride on a broom. Look, you have to remember it is pretend.
Yeah.
It's all make believe. But no, it was great. They look after you. I had a great time.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Andy. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me on and putting up with my ramblings.
No, it's been a pleasure. Mike, thanks so much as well for coming on the channel. Really enjoyed talking to you. Tell everyone where they can find your wonderful work and yourself on social media.
So I'm at AppsMike on Twitter, and you can find me on BBC South Today, obviously, if you're in the south of England, and on iPlayer. And I have to say, well, I've got the next week off. I've just had a week of presenting the breakfast bulletins, and I did the week before that of doing it, where I have to get up at 3:20 in the morning. So I'm supposed to be disciplined and get to bed at a reasonable time. But unfortunately, I think the first one was I was on the early start when we had Burnley away, and I'm thinking I really must have watched this, but of course I found myself still watching it, and then having that probably the worst night's sleep I've ever had on that shift, where you're so deflated and you've got to think I've got to go to work in a couple of hours' time, and then Brighton this week was also a challenge. So I'm just hoping that this North London derby is not on a midweek where I have to get up at 3:20 in the morning after that, and I can just enjoy it, and because there's no way I'm going to be able to avoid watching that. But no, it's been a real pleasure to be on. I've enjoyed listening to all three of you with your views on Spurs over the years, and it's been a pleasure to meet you and take part in this tonight.
Thank you so much, Mike. And Ricky, thanks so much as always.
Oh, my pleasure, bruv. Always a pleasure and an honor. I always love coming on. The boys, as they know, you can find me on Twitter at Ricky J Norwood, on Insta, official Ricky Norwood. But Chris, before we go, you got to tell us how training's going. You got to let everybody know, the boys know, and everybody watching tonight, that you're running a marathon, what you're running for, etc., etc. Give us an update. Give us an update, bro.
The update is I'm exhausted, Ricky. That's the truth.
Mate. Oh, mate, but keep going. You're doing it for a fantastic.
It's going very well, and thank you to everybody who has sponsored me so far for a great cause, prostate cancer. It's in October, so lots of training still to do. So yeah, thanks very much for that, Ricky. Ricky, just before we do go, are you up to anything important at the moment, or are you still doing auditions?
I'm still auditioning, my friend. So we had 2 pencils, which means basically you're close to getting the part, but not close enough. One dropped. We didn't get one of them, but we've still got another pencil. So I was hoping to hear by the end of this week, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday, early next week, I should hear something. So fingers crossed, we shall see. But if that doesn't come through, then we'll just go again, my friend. We'll go again.
Andy, there's been a few comments actually in this stream during this hour and 50 show about you possibly going into EastEnders, saying that you would be great running the Queen Vic.
Well, the problem being doing EastEnders is that I've got a Cockney accent. I did do one episode years and years ago, and I mean, a pal of mine used to do it regularly. Cliff Parisi, we're old pals.
Yeah,
God, we go back to I don't know, the Norman period, really. I'd say the Burgess. Just before the invasion, we were a double act back then. So it was all quite medieval. But I did a little stint for him, but it was yes. So I won't be doing it. I can't see me doing EastEnders. I'd like to have a little go, but I just can't see it, to be honest. Really,
We can get you in. We can get you in as my old uncle, and you can get me.
Oh,
bring
love
me,
you, Rick.
You-
That
you
would
can-
be lovely.
you can bring me back from the dead, and we can walk into the square wearing our Tottenham scarves. That's what we can.
No,
do,
that would
mate.
be wonderful because they're all West Ham fans. They're all welcome
Yeah.
there, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'd love to. I've just got to try and get my tongue around the Cockney accent. That's the problem.
And just while we're on the actors theme, Mike, we did have a comment earlier saying that you were a little bit like Hugh Grant.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
I'll take that.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you know, there is a little bit of David Nibbon about me. Yes, I can be quite funny. Yes. Yes, you're not wrong. There is. Yes, I know Hugh vaguely. We shared a flat in Edinburgh in 1984, I do believe it was. He was in I bought a crap out here. He was in a review troupe called the Jockeys of Norfolk, and we all shared a flat up in Edinburgh. A nice lad, Hugh, Fulham fan. Not that you want to know that, but there you are.
Well, Andy, Ricky and Mike, thanks so much for your time this evening. And thanks so much to everybody for watching, all of the comments. It's been a good week for Spurs, beating Brighton on Wednesday, beating West Ham this evening, moving up to 5th in the Premier League. Let's hope that Tottenham can push for that top 4 spot and we get Champions League football for next season. Harry Kane stays, Antonio Conte stays, and he is successful and lifts trophies at Spurs in the future. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Come on.